Good morning. Hey, Crisscross. Hey, Nature Lover. Kasha's Gems. Frank. Lily Eve. Brown Girl 72. Hope everybody's having a good day today. Trigger warning, language warning, use earbuds if you're around other people or children. A lot of foul language in this. Okay, this is October 14th, 2020, Hawkins County Dispatch Audio, 911 call to 110 Ben Hill Road. This is on YouTube, posted by the channel name Summertime, and it was uploaded August 25th of 2023, about a week ago, at the time of recording.
Number one. This is all part. When you put his pen and I'll say the one. What's the address? 110 Ben Hill Road. Please pen and I'll number one. This is all part. When you put his pen and I'll say the one.
She's saying, that's Candus saying, will you please send an officer to 110 Ben Hill Road, Rogersville?
110 Ben Hill Road. My husband lost his mind.
It sounds like Don is saying something in the background, but I can't quite understand what he's saying.
He's out of control. My husband is out.
And then Candus is saying, my husband is out of control. She needs an officer to come out because Don is out of control.
Okay, did he hit you or anything? No, he threw me down, but it's okay.
Now Candus said no, Don did not hit her, but he threw her down. But she's like, but that's okay. So clearly she doesn't want him to get in trouble. He maybe did hit her and she just doesn't want to say because she doesn't want to get him in trouble. She just wants somebody to get him
because he's out of control. And she's probably scared. And she did the right thing by calling the police, honestly.
Okay. What is your name? Candus Bly. What's your callback number? 423 and please send somebody out. Please.
If anybody can make out what is being said in the background here, I give you major props because I really can't understand it. But I can tell Don's standing right there, obviously. So Candus isn't going to say, yeah, he hit me, if he's standing right there and she's afraid of him.
Please send somebody out. Are there any weapons involved? No. Please send somebody out. Are there any weapons?
It kind of sounds like Don's in the background, like, really, baby? Really, you're going to call the cops on me for this? But obviously, if he wouldn't have been out of control, she wouldn't have called the police.
Are there any weapons involved?
Molly, Jonathan's backstage.
So did this call originally come from Heels, I'm assuming? I'm not sure. It doesn't really matter. I'm just curious. Candus says there's no weapons involved. I feel like the 911 operator is getting a little frustrated because Candus, obviously, she sounds like she's very intoxicated. And I'm sure it's not the first call that's been made to them. She's probably answered their calls in the past. And she's probably thinking, wow, like, again, like, really, you guys are going to keep doing this? Knowing that there's kids there. If they've taken calls in the past, they would probably know that. That would have to be so frustrating as a 911 operator.
There is a gun in the house. Okay.
So there is a weapon, but it's in the safe and it's locked up. I remember all that when all that went on with Don saying something about the TBI busted in their safe or took their safe or something because there was bullets in it. Or not because there was bullets in it, but there was bullets in it. Don was afraid or something like that. And he was afraid he was going to get in trouble for it because somebody said something about Summer was in there or something. I don't remember the exact details of that.
Okay, what is his name? Don Wells. And my mom is her. And my Candus Bly. Okay. You got it. You got it.
I'm willing to bet Don's probably just as messed up as she is. And he doesn't really sound very happy in the background.
I'm out. Unbelievable. got this one. I'm out. Unbelievable.
Sounds like Don's like, oh, this is bull crap in the background. And he's like, I'm out, I'm leaving. Something along those lines. It sounds like that's what he's saying, something like that.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. What caused him to act like this?
He thinks that I'm fucking another guy and I'm not.
Okay. All right. Is there any way that you can separate out of it?
What's wrong with him?
So Don thinks that she is screwing another dude and she says she's not. And that other dude is Jose. And maybe that's why in the very beginning when Candus was asked about Jose, she acted like she couldn't even remember his name. Like, oh, him? I think his name was Jose or something. He was nobody. He was just kind of somebody that came over and me and Allie got in a tiff over him because she was jealous or something. And yeah, that's all that was. Forget all this that happened though, right? Obviously, you were hoping nobody would find out about this. But now everybody knows.
Well, I can't take it no more. Are you there?
I feel like Candus was to the point where she just psychologically, like, she mentally couldn't take it anymore. Like, what was she supposed to do? Just stand there and scream, run off? I mean, that was her home. Like, what was she supposed to do? Obviously, she felt like she was so frustrated or upset or scared or something was so over the top. She couldn't handle it. Don's way bigger and stronger than she is. So what was she supposed to do? She had no choice but to call the police, right? Because she knew that would be a force strong enough to get Don off of whatever he was doing that Candus was so upset about.
Yes, I'm here. Is there any way you can separate yourself from him until we can get officers there?
I can try to.
Usually when something like this is going on, it seems like, I don't know. I guess it'd be kind of hard to say, but I feel like a lot of times in situations like this, it would be hard for, if it's the man that's causing the problem and the woman is the one that's calling the police, her trying to get away from that man is going to probably be hard for her because that man's probably going to follow her wherever she goes to listen to what she's saying or whatever.
You're gonna call the cops on me? Yeah. Because you're being an asshole. I ain't beat you. I am.
Okay, trigger warning. This is pretty graphic, the way that they talk. And for anybody that's ever been through anything like this, you might want to, consider mentally preparing yourself.
I ain't beat you. I am. Did you hear what he said? You beat me up.
Yeah, I'm here. Is there any way that you can get outside and you realize?
And this is just another example of Don trying to make himself look like the victim because he knows he did wrong, and instead of accepting the fact that he messed up and trying to make it right, he tries to turn it around on the person that he wronged.
But there's no mark on him, but it's not my feet. And now he's punching himself in the face.
She said now he's punching himself in the face.
Really? Yeah, it's not. You need the whole thing? No, it's not. What? Because you don't know nothing I say. Yes, I do. No. So you're gonna call the cops on me?
He knows they can hear everything he's saying, and he's trying to sound all soft and gentle now in the background.
I'm talking to police right now, please leave me alone. Please leave me alone. I'm talking to police right now, please leave me alone.
Is she saying I'm talking to the policeman now? Please leave me alone, or my boyfriend? What is she saying right there?
I say. Yes, I do. No. So you're gonna call the cops on me? I'm talking to police right now, please leave me
She says I'm talking to the police right now. Please leave me alone.
alone.
Don's probably so mad he's shaking. He knows he can't blow up or nothing. He's just like, wow, wow.
I don't know what to do.
Okay, have you all been drinking tonight?
I want to go, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Clearly.
Hey, we went out the door like a scared stick and he's leaving.
Okay, and he's leaving. What's he wearing?
Hey, we went out the door like a scared stick and he's leaving.
He's running out the door and he's leaving at this point, and he's already been punching himself in the face.
Okay, and he's leaving. What's he wearing?
Well, I'm not sounding really honestly at it. This is what he's wearing.
She was pretty drunk or on whatever, so she wasn't really sure what he was wearing, and I wonder if she was really sure what Summer was wearing when she went missing.
No, we got it. I know that the way you put the lead. I'm not about to all of you. What about yourself? What about myself? I ain't doing nothing. What the fuck up? What about you? I know the way you okay. We're having a hard one. No, we got it. I know that the way you put the lead. I'm not about to all of you. What about yourself? What about myself? I ain't doing nothing. What the fuck up?
I can't quite tell all of what they're saying, but when he says, what about yourself, I'm not really quite sure what Candus said before that. But she says she isn't doing nothing, and Don's like, yeah, you beat the F out of me. And I don't know. I mean, she could have, I guess.
I did not see that what the fuck that we did or not. I still got black eyes. There's no black eye. Really? Nice try.
Probably gave them to himself.
He's talking to that shit on my leg. And I just had to raise up a bunch of shit. Look at my fucking leg, man. You see that shit on my leg? He was driving a lawnmower the other day and it put over on him. Now he's trying to blame me for doing it.
Is that true, Don? Did you hurt yourself on the lawnmower and now you're trying to blame Candus for that too? Try and make yourself look like the victim because you know you messed up.
Okay, does anybody need an ambulance?
No, no one needs an ambulance.
Okay. And you put himself in the fashion so he'll be the airport. Okay, I'm gonna keep you on the phone until they get there.
Okay. I'll wait right here.
In a way, Candus almost sounds so casual that this seems like something that's just really normal for her.
Okay, just stay on the phone with me. Sure, you like that.
Send them to
You don't even like that. You didn't even fucking talk to him to anything. You didn't even fucking talk to him to anything. Who said that?
So Don's obviously mad because he thinks he's going to go to jail. Like, obviously, he did something wrong. He knows that. He's like, damn, you're really going to do this to me? You're really going to go through with this? And she's like, I mean, it's pretty much too late. It's already a thing now. And she's just waiting on the phone until they get there. He knows that. He was about to leave, punching himself in the face, trying to get out of there before they get there. Obviously, he knows he did something wrong.
No, because
you answered our questions when I did. Yes, you did.
You called me and said,
Wow. I said Jose and Alba.
So she called Don, and he probably heard Jose, or something was said about Jose being there, and he instantly got jealous, got mad. There's another man in his house. So he came flying back home, and this is the aftermath of that. And don't forget, the kids were there.
I never heard that part.
No, because you never heard what's writing here, right? Oh, wait.
You left it open so we would think.
No, it did not.
And I'm sure a lot of you are going to call this out as narcissistic behavior on Don's part. That's what I was thinking too.
Look, I'm done. Stop.
So now, I don't know, he took off, I guess.
For real, pay attention to how casual Candus sounds. Like this is just an average, everyday occurrence for her. But this time, he was more out of control than she could handle. Probably not the only time.
Are you there? Hello? I'm still here, hold on just a minute. Are you trying to make it like I did everything to him and I ever did nothing? I got such a big wild bruise on my leg from him throwing me down.
And Candus in the very beginning said, but that's okay. Like, that's not why I'm calling you. I'm not calling you because you hurt me. Like, she's used to that or something. Like, that doesn't bother her because it's probably something that she deals with all the time. And what really bothers her, though, is probably that mental, psychological torture that I guess she would probably call it, that she's being attacked in that way, and that maybe Don and Jose were fighting and she knew she couldn't get in between it and break anything up. So everything piled on top of each other was enough to make her call 911. And Don's acting like she just got her feelings hurt and that's why she called. Well, maybe it was more than getting her feelings hurt. Maybe she felt mentally attacked and abused, and physically as well, but the physical part obviously wasn't what was bothering her. Don was being out of control in every way, in front of the kids and everybody. And now he's trying to punch himself in the face. Well, he is punching himself in the face, according to Candus, and trying to make himself look like the victim and trying to run off and get away from it. And in the background, trying to make himself sound good. Does that remind you of anything that ever has been going on since Summer disappeared? Because it sounds a lot like the behavior that I've seen. And they say they weren't like that until after Summer went missing, but that's not what it sounds like to me. This was 8 months before Summer was reported missing. And they were there when this happened.
My kids are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there any way you can separate yourself from him until they get there? I'm gonna talk to her.
I'm going to throw another trigger warning out there. And Candus mentions something about the kids, but it goes like muted. Like you can't hear what she says after that. So I don't know what was said. Something about the kids. But she's going to say more.
Now he's calling me a top power and I'm gonna go to jail.
It ain't good thing in the dispute. That's all it was. We didn't
Don doesn't have 7 alibis for this one.
even fight.
And now he's in my face saying, he didn't fight nobody on this shit.
We're not fighting.
Just imagine how this might have gone if Candus didn't have 911 on the phone.
We ain't always there and have disagreement. That would do it. Now you're gonna call the call center from something president, brother?
Sorry, really, the guy in front
That's
of
exactly what it's like.
your eyes and spirit.
If he wouldn't have done anything wrong, why would he get arrested? If Candus just got her feelings hurt, then wouldn't that pretty much be obvious by the time the police got there? You wouldn't be freaking out, punching yourself in the face and trying to run off if it was just that Candus just got her feelings hurt. You would just be trying to comfort her, right? Or maybe just walk away from the situation. You wouldn't be in a panic mode trying to run off and then coming back angry to the point where everybody was afraid when you arrived back on the property.
That's the hours now.
Is that the car? What is me? It's so crazy. I'm sitting here listening.
No, but I just see what it's like. I thought we was gonna let him do what it was fun.
And the thing was funny is he still what you said.
What I said?
Now you guys dumb.
What?
That's
I'm behind or something?
So everything was fine until Don said what he said. Like, it wasn't the fact that he threw her down so hard that it bruised her leg. There was some heated discussion going on, clearly. So whatever was said must have been so hurtful and offensive to Candus that it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And he was being out of control in every way, it sounds like. And the kids were there. Like, I can't say it enough times. It just blows my mind. It's like people totally sweep these things under the rug and give them their full support. I get people just generally being kind when speaking to them, or people trying to actually, in their own way, do something good to try to get some information. But I just don't understand how there's people that genuinely like really support Don and Candus both equally and totally pay no mind to any of these things. when this was only 8 months before Summer's disappearance, and they've shown us the same exact behavior since then.
Yeah. You're the post officer.
What's your name?
Screaming this there from somewhere. Ask for a cigarette. Screaming this there from somewhere.
What's your name?
Screaming this there from somewhere.
I don't know what she's saying about Summer right there, but I know a lot of my subs, people that listen, are really good at listening. So if somebody could try and figure out what she's saying right there. Let's hear it one more time.
What's your name?
Screaming this there from somewhere.
What's your name?
Screaming this there from somewhere. Ask for a cigarette.
We're gonna say hi to him.
Yeah, you can say hi, man. Screaming this there from somewhere. Ask for a cigarette.
We're gonna say hi to him.
Yeah.
It sounded like, was that the 911 operator that said that? Let me say hi to her.
Ask for a cigarette.
We're gonna say hi to him.
Yeah, you can say hi, man. I'm good, man. Well, I'm gonna be able to, I haven't been nothing wrong.
Was that the 911 operator? Because if it was, she never said hi back, and I thought that was really weird because it didn't sound like it was the person on the other line of the phone. It sounded almost like someone that was there with Candus in the background.
Yes, man. Well, I'm gonna be able to, I haven't been nothing wrong. Well, we will.
Okay. I was gonna say,
Sounds like things have calmed down a little bit for the moment, for the time being. Maybe the kids surfaced from downstairs or from outside or to wherever the adults were, and they came to where the adults were at that point, and that kind of diffused things a little bit. I hope, if that's the case, I hope it would diffuse things a little bit. Things should never have escalated that far in the first place, especially with children there, even if they were in the basement or outside, or whatever, away from it. Still, I'm sure they heard and seen enough. Way more than they should have.
she is in the room. But no, they guys come in there and
Now that I'll fight in the living room. Well, I'm not doing nothing wrong, man.
So whatever's going on, it sounds like things de-escalated a little bit for the time being. Candus is just sitting there thinking, and she's like, I didn't do anything wrong. And she says it a couple times. And she just has time to sit there and actually think and breathe for a second. And that's what comes to her mind. Like, wait a minute, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, this isn't fair. This isn't right. Well, if you really didn't do anything wrong and it really was all done, all the opportunities that you've had to leave him and get your children away from him, if it really was like this, like it sure sounds like it was, and you didn't take any of those opportunities, it makes it really hard not to feel anger towards you too, Candus.
I understand. I just need to keep you on the phone until I can get there to you.
He's up there little punching stuff the feds and making himself all bruised up and bloody like I am, and I'm not.
So Summer was just standing right there saying hi to somebody like seconds ago, and now Candus is talking about Don he ran off and he's punching himself in the face and trying to make himself all bloody, like she's beating him up, and she's not. Well, it sounds like there's plenty of witnesses around to say whether she was or wasn't, and I think she would probably have a little bit of evidence on her hands from that. They would probably be a little bit swollen, don't you think? But I'm no expert.
I'm in the other room, not in the next room.
Just stay where you're at. If he comes back in there, just don't talk to him.
So hopefully none of the children witnessed Don punching himself in the face, or witnessed him being all bloody, or witnessed him hurting Candus, pushing her down, or psychologically abusing her.
I need you to try to separate it until they can get there to you.
Wire and Waylon are right here next to me, and they can prove that
I really don't understand why the 911 operator is not asking about the children. Like, where are they? What are they doing? Are they away from it? Are they okay? How many are there? How old are they?
and Waylon are right here next to me, and they can prove that I was there.
That's so terrible that Wyatt and Waylon had to be there to witness that. And wherever Josie was, it's terrible that he had to be around that too. Wyatt and Waylon were right next to her, and at some point so was Summer. So we know at least those three children witnessed what was going on. I'm sure the oldest probably did as well. And that's just unacceptable. Like, I know it happens. It happens to people all over all the time that have children. They fight in front of their children. And there's children, probably plenty of people in chat right now that probably grew up with parents that fought a lot. And it's just never okay to bring violence around children. It's especially terrifying to children when it's their own parents or one of their parents that's involved in that type of thing. And it's incredibly stressful and can cause a lot of anxiety and fear in a child when things like that are constantly going on around them, or even if it only happens once. That can be very traumatic for a child to grow up like that, and to even go through it once can still be traumatic for a child. I don't want to believe that they had to go through this frequently and regularly, but just judging by the fact that Candus says Don was out of control, she had to call 911, makes me feel like this does happen frequently. It's just that that night, October 14th of 2020, it got too out of control to the point where Candus needed a hand. She couldn't take it anymore. And she probably had the influence of Jose, who'd been talking in her ear and encouraging her probably to leave Don or do her own thing or whatever, empowering her from what it sounds like, from what everything that Jose said. So when Don got back, Candus probably already had confidence and courage built up to stand up to Don and do something to try and get him away from her. So she called 911. There's probably been lots of times in the past where Don and Candus got into just as heated of an argument or exchange or whatever, got just as physical with each other, throwing Candus down, hitting each other, whatever, choking each other. It's not okay, especially in front of your kids. That is never okay. I don't care if you grew up like that, if you know people that are like that, it's not okay. It doesn't matter how often it happens, where it happens, or who it happens to. It shouldn't be accepted.
Are you there? Yeah, I'm still here.
So it sounds like Don is still cursing and trying to be intimidating to Candus in the background, in my opinion, because he doesn't want her to call the cops on him, but it's too late. She already did. So he can't really flip his wig too much, knowing that dispatch is on the phone with Candus and can hear everything that's going on. And they know there's kids there, not that Don probably cares, or it probably didn't occur to him that that would be a big deal, clearly. But regardless, they're still arguing in the background in front of the kids, and dispatch is on the line listening to it and can probably hear it more clearly than we can on this recording. And it really bothers me that she wasn't more concerned about the children.
I'm still here. My phone fell off the way, woman. Wow. Hey, baby. I'm not. You're talking So you're going to be here with your mama for that? Was it me?
And that's the part where it sounds like he's saying, so you're gonna be here with your mom and Jose instead of me? Or he might be saying, we're gonna go with your mom and Jose instead of me, or something along those lines.
So you're going to be here with your mama for that? Was it me?
He might be saying, so you're gonna be here alone with Jose? I'm not sure.
Wow. So I was like, I'm going to say we're going to check on my house. And I've been trying to be good, doing what's right. But I haven't let them.
So Don's upset. This is where he's saying, wow, so I've had whoever up my ass trying to do good, and he's basically like, and this is how you're gonna do me? Like, as if Candus did something awful. If she wasn't sleeping with Jose and he really was just there staying, and it was just another random person that she had stay, what's the difference in any other time? It's just the fact that he wasn't there. And I do see Don as somewhat of a pretty big narcissist, so it wouldn't be beyond him to play mind games, in my opinion, with Candus to turn it around to make it look like she did something bad, basically gaslighting her, when really she was just doing the same thing that she always does, and he never cared any other time, but now he cared.
He's trying to blend it for everything. It's just something different. If you heard something different, I told that man the truth, and he repeated it for everything I said.
Candus sounds really fed up, like she just deals with this all the time. That's seriously the vibe that I get, that she deals with this all the time and she's freaking fed up, man. She can't deal with it anymore. She's so psychologically stressed out and tipped over the brim in her head that was probably 100 times harder on her than anything Don ever did to her physically. And that's really sad that he's doing that to her, abusing her mentally, psychologically, in front of the children, around the children where they're witnessing it, and physically. That's not okay. Please tell me there wasn't any other forms of abuse going on in that home. Don seems to have a lot of victims in life that he claims are the ones that are wrong, that he shames and turns around and makes himself out to be the victim. I don't buy it. And I think it's disgusting.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you hear what happened?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
No, I told him, I said, Mom, Jose was here and a friend of mine, Alan, was here. I told him that on the phone and he refuses to believe me.
So she's trying to explain, hey, I had my friend Jose and my friend Allie here, and I tried to explain that over to him over the phone, but he didn't believe me or something. Something happened, and he thought it was something that it wasn't. And now he's flipping his lid and he's out of control. And Candus can't do anything about it because he's trying to beat up Jose, or was beating up Jose. And what's she supposed to do? Step in the middle of it and get beat up too? She already got pushed down.
Okay.
But now he took off out the road. I don't know what the fuck he's at. He's been drinking. He's off.
Okay.
It sounds like Don's the kind that he's going to be like, I'm just going to leave and storm off and hope that it gives the person time to think and change their mind and fix things before he gets back. And that when he'll come back, things will be better. But then he comes back so quickly and just to escalate things. Like the second he left, he let his thoughts get to him so bad that it turned his ass right back around and made him start in again.
And you don't know what he's wearing?
And he's wearing a gray shirt and some blue jeans.
Okay.
Now she remembers what Don's wearing. She must have sobered up a little bit.
My phone's fixed diet at 1%. He keeps coming back and keeps coming back with his stick in my face.
Candus's phone's fixing to die. It's at 11%, she says. And then she says, Don, he's coming back. She knows he's going to come back. She's freaked out about it, stressed about it, whatever. And she said he came back and put something in her face, put a stick in her face or something, hit her in the face. I don't know exactly what she says, but she sounds scared of Don coming back. And in the police report, it said something about the family being afraid when Don was coming back. Well, Candus does sound afraid.
Okay. Just stay on the phone with me as long as you can.
I'm trying to. I didn't do anything wrong. I don't want to go to jail.
I don't know if she's saying I don't want him to go to jail, if she's saying she doesn't want to go to jail, or if she's saying she does want him to go to jail. I can't tell for sure.
I don't want to go to jail.
It kind of sounds like she says, I don't want him to go to jail.
I don't want to go to jail. He went for 4 fucking months straight, and I've been here taking care of all the kids.
So Don left like a year before Summer's disappearance, went to Utah for 4 months, came back. This happened, this incident, October 14th of 2020. Then 8 months later, Summer comes up missing. And their behavior has remained the same the whole time, before and after Summer's disappearance. They didn't change. They didn't get like this since Summer disappeared or because of her disappearance, because they were so heartbroken that they couldn't cope. They've been like this.
What was his name? Donald Wells. Do you know where he went to going? I don't know. I don't know where he goes. When he goes, he just goes. Okay. He just doesn't.
Dispatch asks if Candus knows where he'd be going, and she's like, I don't know. I don't know where he goes. He just goes. So, again, sounds like a very typical thing that happens all the time. I don't know. He gets drunk and gets mad and fight and storms off and goes somewhere, God knows where, all the time. I don't know where he goes. That's toxic.
Disappeared in the John City of the crack man and all kinds of shit. He just disappeared in the John City of the crack man and all kinds of shit.
Did she say he went to Johnson City with the crack man, all kinds of shit? What is she saying right there?
I don't know where he goes. When he goes, he just goes. Okay. He just disappeared in the John City of the crack man and all kinds of shit.
It's definitely something about the crack man.
Here. They're getting close. They're coming as fast as they can. Well, there's a little bit. Okay. Hi.
Now, I don't know if that really sounds like Summer or one of her brothers. It kind of sounds like one of her brothers to me, but I don't know. It could have been Summer. It could have been another child that was at the house. I don't know, but it definitely sounds like a child.
Hi. Stop!
Notice how it seemed quiet for a minute, then all of a sudden Don can be heard again. And Candus is like, stop. Like, almost sounds like he might be like in her face, and she doesn't want that to be the case. So she's trying to like back off, and she's saying, stop. That's what it sounds like to me. That's how I'm picturing it. I could be way off.
You hurt me.
You hurt me.
When she says you hurt me, she could be referencing something that he just did, or from when she said he threw her down. And it sounds like when he threw her down, he must have threw her down pretty freaking hard, because it sounds like he actually hurt her.
No, it's not.
So why are you going to spend this on me now?
I haven't sprung nothing on you, Donnie. I told you to, and you don't believe me. No, you don't. You don't. I haven't sprung nothing on you, Donnie. I told you to, and you don't believe me. No, you don't. You don't. You don't. You just turn us away.
It just sounds like more of the mind game stuff. And I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I don't really want to say that I don't support Candus, okay? She's a suspect in her own daughter's disappearance, and she's leaving out very crucial information, in my opinion. Even law enforcement themselves said so. They have not been cleared. No, I don't support Candus, okay? But I do feel like she was probably the victim in this case. I do feel like Don did her wrong here, and he's playing mind games with her, and he's trying to gaslight her, and he's being a total narcissist, and he's doing it without even, it doesn't even seem like he gives it a second thought. Like, it's just second nature to him. He's so used to being that way that it doesn't bother him. He doesn't even notice it. But everybody around him does, in my opinion. Because how could you not? The whole family is probably basically worse off because of the way that Don is and how he acts and the things that he refuses to sacrifice and give up for the better of his family. He says all he does is work, but what does he have to show for it? Now or then? It seems like all Don cares about is Don.
No, it's not. No. No, I'm saying it's now.
I don't know what Alex. I didn't know.
Candus says something about Hunter and Allie, and Don's like, I don't know what Allie has to do with this. I didn't know. I don't know what they're talking about, but it could possibly be Candus saying something about maybe they're the reason Jose ended up there. Hunter and Allie brought him, and it was Allie's friend. And, maybe Don was like, well, I didn't know. You didn't tell me that part. And Candus is probably like, yeah, I did. You were just freaking out and didn't hear me and didn't listen because you were talking over me or whatever. Who knows?
No.
No, you don't do nothing I say. Anyone else on?
I swear, you follow me.
You still not between. Come on. It's not. No, you are me. For the last time.
I think I heard her say, "You hurt me for the last time," possibly. And I never heard that before. And I've listened to it a few times now. But this time, now that I listened to it for like the fourth or fifth time, I think she says, "You hurt me for the last time." I don't know. What do you think? I'll play it again.
It's not. No, you are me. For the last time.
No, you hurt me for the last time. That's what it sounds like. Sounds like it's something that happens quite often. You can hear it in the way that Candus talks, the things she says, how she reacts, in my opinion.
I'm just going out of your mind. Oh, no, me. I'm done. No, I no. No, it's not.
Something about like, if you're gonna hurt me and you don't love me, then I'm done or whatever. And I think Don might be like, it's okay, it's okay. And she's like, no, it's not.
Bullshit. No, you want to say that, but that's fine. Yeah. I can't do it anymore. Everything's fine, bro.
Don's usually the master manipulator, but it sounds like Candus has been encouraged enough while he was away for 4 months to stand up to him and just call the police and try and get him out of there finally. But it seems like as soon as Jose left, Candus just went and dropped whatever the charges or whatever against Don. She dropped the protection order. She was like, never mind, don't want it anymore. Jose was gone. She ended up staying with Don, obviously. And now look where we are. What if she wouldn't have?
Tell you the truth, be honest with you, and you're gonna hate me.
So she's just saying that she's trying to be honest with Don. She's told him everything, but he doesn't believe her and he still hates her anyways. No, that could be partially like a drunk cry, I suppose, but it sounds like she really is at the end of her rope.
Are you there? No. Where's he at? No, he's in the other room, Johnny, the Asian thing, kids and all that. He's begging me to stop calling y'all and all this stuff.
She said he's begging me to stop calling y'all and all this stuff. Well, it's too late now. You can't really manipulate your way out of this one.
Because we're having this this is the last thing yeah.
It sounds like Don's like trying to comfort her and shush her and be like, it's okay, baby. And then he's like, but this is the last thing you do is call the cops, okay? Like, yeah, I know I messed up and I did something wrong, but this is the last thing you do when you feel that I'm out of control and you feel threatened and scared for yourself and your children is call the cops. It's terrible advice.
No, it's not. No, it's really not. I can't blame you for something I've been terrible. You do that, I told you. No, I told you
Yeah, I never forget who it is.
Yeah, he was rushing up. Yeah, of course you're going to stick up for you.
I tried calling you a million.
Now Don's trying to justify his behavior and everything that he did to cause Candus to call the police. Turn it around on her, make her feel like it was her fault and that she's doing something wrong by calling the police on Don. Because it wasn't his fault, because he didn't know. It was just the way that Candus came across to him that caused him to act this way, instead of just owning up to his own shitty behavior.
Hey, then.
So what was that? Swifty. So this is what we were thinking when it was in Utah. But now we're with another man, huh? See? You should have said yes.
Of course, because you're going to stick up for you no matter what it is. No, that's a lie. No.
And I think Don's basically saying, like, wow, you're going to have another dude in my house while I'm gone. I don't know what you were thinking while I was gone. And Candus is like, basically, it wasn't like that, but you don't listen to what I say, so.
This one's a possible here.
Sure. What you want to do?
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn around stuff well. Indeed.
One phone's dying. Okay, just stay on the line as long as you can. It's after 2%. Okay.
And earlier, Candus said her phone was fixing to die. It was at 11%. Now she says that 15%. A little bit drunk.
Shit. Yeah, that's how
I'm pretty sure, if I had to guess, I would say that was Summer in the background right there. Unless there's another little girl there. That definitely sounded like Summer to me. Now Candus is saying her leg hurts. It hurts really bad. Because remember, she said Don threw her down.
You said your leg hurt? I'm not too bad. Do what? That looks bad. You don't need an ambulance? No, I don't need a medical. What's that thing? Okay.
I don't even think Candus's leg hurting her, the fact that Don threw her down, was even what got her so upset to call 911 in the first place. I really do think that Don was psychologically abusing her so bad and wilding out so bad with Jose all at the same time. It was too much for her to handle, and she literally felt like it was an emergency and she needed help. So she called 911.
It's just a stuffed up place.
It does sound like Summer saying, "Help me, Mama." And I'm so sorry that she had to be around any of this or that her brothers did.
What are you doing, man? Really try to hurt someone.
And it's concerning that it sounds like Summer saying, help me, and then Candus is saying, it's so unfair, he's always trying to hurt Summer. And she says, at the end of the call, she's saying, he hurt my daughter. She said Don hurt Summer. And the dispatch even says, he hurt your daughter? And Candus says, yes. And this was less than a year, only 8 months before Summer disappeared. And people want to think that it's so ridiculous and disrespectful to think that Don Wells, who has not been cleared as a suspect in Summer's disappearance, his own daughter, is it so far-fetched to think that he could have hurt Summer? Had something to do with her disappearance? I don't think so. I mean, I do think it's possible that he did have something to do with Summer's disappearance and could have possibly hurt her, and maybe that's why she's missing, because he did hurt her and he doesn't want anybody to know that. Maybe that could explain why he tries so hard to come across as this great loving guy when it's clearly a facade. Just be yourself, Don, because when your true colors show, it's not very pretty. But you try to paint yourself in this bright, vibrant light like you were just this hardworking, doting father. But when you look at the facts, it really doesn't seem that way at all. And I think there's a reason Don tries so hard to get people to view him in that light, because he knows his real self, and he knows he's not like that. And if people knew who he really was, I don't think one single person would be supporting him besides Candus. That's just my opinion.
No. Yes, I do. Get her name. What? Ma'am, are you still there? Yeah, I'm here. What's going on? Are you there? Yeah, I'm here. This is with my daughter.
No, this also doesn't sound like something that has never happened before. It sounds like something that Candus is used to dealing with, and she's sick of it. And it's really scary to think about, and it's really sad. But the way that Candus says this, she doesn't sound so angry like it was the first time it's ever happened. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just hurt Summer. It's just like, yeah, he hurt my daughter. Like, it's a normal thing. And I might be alone on feeling that way. And I really hope that I'm wrong on that. I just can't not see it.
Okay, just hurt your daughter? Yeah, I took my daughter's photo. Okay.
Is she saying, yeah, he took my daughter's snuggles? He took my cat?
They took her to the. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. They took a trip. Okay.
Yeah. No. Yeah. How many days do I get here?
They're coming as fast as they can. They're getting close to you.
Okay.
Johnny told my mom that he had to leave, and she had to leave, and she's been here for over a year.
So she got over Don hurting Summer pretty quick. It seemed like she got a lot more heated and a lot more upset about anything that Don said about Jose or concerning her lying, which Candus said she wasn't lying, that Don was the one that was lying. And when he called her a cop collar, she got really upset. She didn't think that was fair either. But when he hurt Summer, she cried. She got upset and she didn't like it. She got over it pretty darn quick. It didn't seem to bother her, stand out to her any more than any of the other things that Don has said or done so far. That bothers me.
He's outside fight. Johnny's outside fighting with my best friend. Okay, he's outside fighting with somebody? With my friend, yeah. Okay.
Again, that sounds like Summer in the background saying something, mommy. And I just hope that she didn't have to witness any of the fighting. I would hope she didn't have to witness any of that physical violence or hear any of the mental abuse that went on. But I just don't see how she couldn't have. She was there for it. We could literally hear her voice as Don and Candus were arguing. And Candus said, he hurt my daughter. So pretty sure she was right in the midst of everything between Don and Candus and Jose and everybody fighting. And Grandma sounds like she's in the background too. I could have swore I just heard Grandma. Why isn't anybody taking the children away? Out into the camper or something. Away from this. There's a whole property. They can take them off somewhere away from it. Grandma could have. Why didn't she? I mean, what's really going on here?
He's outside fighting with my friend. Okay, you're sure he's outside fighting with him? I can't do anything about it. How many cops are coming? There's a couple of them coming. They're getting close to you. How many coming?
So the police are about to arrive, and it seems like I'm pretty sure they got there quicker on this call than they did on June 15th. Took them longer to get there on June 15th, I'm pretty sure. But they got there in about a half hour for this call. So it takes them a little bit to get there.
They're all fighting out in my mom's camper. Okay. They're in the camper? And I think somebody just walked off the driveway real fast. Okay.
Why would they all be fighting over Grandma's camper? What is there to fight about over her camper?
And then Johnny left because he's going to get arrested. He knows it. He left, but he'll be back. I don't
I don't know what
You can't tell me that Candace doesn't sound scared. She sounds afraid that Don's going to come back and he's going to be violent and out of control again in front of the kids, in front of everybody. No limits. She's scared. She said so in the order of protection when she filled that out. But seems like as soon as Jose left, she went and retracted that.
No. Is he still outside? There's cars coming in the valley. Oh, no. Okay,
I don't know if she just said something about Summer right there, but it kind of sounded like she said Summer's name.
there's cars coming in the valley. Oh, no. Okay, that's going to be my officer. I need you to stay inside until they get there.
Well, what's the right here?
Like, just stay on the phone with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get up the sticker.
So that was one of the parts I missed when a kid walked up and asked if they could have a sticker, and Candace was like, yeah, you can have a sticker. Like, the kids are they're just so used to this. It just goes on around them all the time, probably, or did. They're just casually in the background like it's no big deal. It's nothing out of the norm to them. It's really sad.
And then pull up in the driveway.
Okay. Okay, they're there. Just stay in the house until they come to the door to get you, okay?
So they come to the front door.
Okay, just, okay, that'll be my officers.
Okay, my house.
Okay, go out, go talk to them.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure Candace said there's 4 of them, 4 officers that initially walked up. I wonder how many officers came that night. I wonder if they came prepared knowing who they were dealing with and knowing that it was going to be out of hand and were going to need an extra hand or 2. I'm sure they probably already knew who Don was before they even went up there. It's just a guess. Don doesn't seem to be too fond of Hawkins County. He says he would take another lie detector test for TBI, but not for Hawkins County. He doesn't trust them, and he hasn't trusted them since the very beginning. I do appreciate you all for being here for Summer Moon Utah Wells. I'm sorry that if anybody is going through a hard time right now, and this was really hard for some people maybe to hear some of this or to think about some of these things. I mean, I'm right there with you. It is hard to think about. Summer's been missing for over 800 days, over 2 years. I mean, it's time for at least some answers for Summer, whether we get to know them or not. For her brothers, for closure, if that's what if that's what it needs to be, or for Summer to finally be found and finally just be rescued and be able to find somewhere to call home. And then when she gets older, she can tell her own story and get justice. I pray that's the case and that's what happens. I want to say only time will tell, but sometimes time doesn't even tell. I feel like in this case it will. It's going to take a lot of patience, but I'm not going anywhere, and I know most of you are not either until Summer is found and gets justice. and probably beyond that as well. Thanks again for hanging out for a couple hours and talking about summer, Don, Candus, the whole thing with Jose, all the arguing and the fighting, and just the terrible things in the darkness that surrounds Summer's case because of her family, where she went missing from on that hill. And it really makes me wonder how there's so many people supporting Don and Candus and brushing these things under the rug. It's one thing to support them, and it's another thing to entertain their interference in their own missing daughter's case. Don't entertain the interference, the misinformation, the not wanting to answer pertinent questions, not wanting to give crucial information in regards to the timeline, not wanting to answer to law enforcement, not wanting to cooperate with law enforcement, not wanting to even talk to law enforcement or even go to the press conferences for Summer. I don't support any of that. Why would I support Don and Candus when they're going against Summer and their boys? It's a harsh reality, but I'm not going to pretend like I don't see it. I see you, Summer, and I love you. And I love all you guys for being here. Thank you.
Thank you, September Virgo, for the super sticker. Thank you, Crime Creepy, for becoming a member. Thank you, Nature Lover, for the cash up. Thank you, mods. You're all great. Thank you, everybody in chat. I love and appreciate all of you. So sick of Don Wells and his victim blaming and victim shaming. It's got to stop. We're not going anywhere. We're not going to shut up. We're going to see this through until Summer is found and gets justice.
She didn't stay, things got tough. I told a lie, she got mad. She wasn't there when things got bad. I never ever saw the northern lights. Never really heard a cluster of flies. Never ever saw the stars so bright. In the farmhouse, it'd be alright, 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 alright. Woke this morning to the stinging lash. Every man has found the ash. Each betrayal begins with trust. Every man returns to dust. Don't ever saw the northern lights. Never really heard a cluster of flies. Never ever saw the stars so bright. In the farmhouse, it'd be alright, 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 alright.